table if you care to fill one out. You can turn that in at the auditor's office. If you'd all stand, I'd like to ask Tim Ortman to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask Chris Stephen, lead us in prayer, please.
Let us pray. Lord God, creator of both heaven and earth, we pause at the opening of this gathering to give you thanks for all the blessings, material and immaterial, which you have lavished upon individually and collectively. We thank you, Lord, for the freedom to meet together and discuss the needs of Decatur County and the municipalities within. Lord, we thank you for the long and rich history of our county and the many advantages which you have given us all. Lord, we thank you for those who have a willing heart to assume the responsibility before you, to lead and direct the affairs and business of Decatur County and to serve the sacred public trust as commissioners. Lord, bless them with peace in their lives, both public and private. St. James once wrote, "If anyone desires wisdom, let them ask God and he will give it." We humbly ask for wisdom in the spirit of unity and cooperation dealing with the needs and challenges of our county. We ask that today and every day you would endow our commissioners and the municipal leaders to have a spirit of wisdom and guide them in resolutions of challenges which we collectively face. Lord, we ask that your blessings would come down and rest upon Decatur County to create an atmosphere of civil and moral climate. That Decatur County would be a place of peace and prosperity, an opportunity both spiritually and economically. Lord God, glorify yourself in Decatur County, in this land, and in all the earth. Lord, we ask that the deliberations held and decisions made here this day and every day will be for the public welfare and good. We ask that Decatur County will live up to all of its potential and become a place which you have desired it to be, the purpose you have ordained and for which you have founded it. Lord, with your Holy Spirit, guide and bless our commissioners and other civil and public servants, and God bless Decatur County with all the blessings and more. We ask all these things in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, Chris. Minutes, you guys have looked over the minutes of any corrections? Yeah.
No correction. I didn't know. I moved to approve.
Second.
Claims,
I don't have any correction.
I didn't have any.
Move to approve.
Second.
payroll,
I move to approve.
September 29th. First up, Todd Howe.
Good morning, gentlemen. Report for the county, Bridge 236 by the junior high. I think we're pouring the wing walls today in Buckman's at bin N1, bin N2. Bridge inspection, the DVE and the RFP submitted to NDOT for advertisement for 2025 through 2028 bridge inspection. Bridge maintenance continues throughout the county. We're mowing, still burning, patching, and we've also kicked off behind the wheel trainer for Decatur County Highway. I've got a gentleman that we hired back and has volunteered to be the behind the wheel trainer or entry-level driver trainers at the highway department. And highway garage, moving along. I think we're still talking 1st November. Other than that, I think a gentleman wanted to come this morning, and that was Mr. Muckerhide in regards to some damage he did to a road. So I guess I'll turn it over to him.
Before you start, Larry, who did you point to be the
Todd
trainer?
Rubel.
Can you be thinking about a date to have an open house at the new highway garage before we get everything moved in? And
No, I don't.
can you be thinking about one?
Yes.
get one, so that we can get that pushed out to the public so that people can actually come out and see the new facilities and everything before we get all here.
Okay, are we wanting everything complete?
Yes.
Okay.
That way we don't have any issues with things not being done rolling around.
Okay. Yep.
And everything's, the stone is put down up on 300 North, is that right? From some people I talked to, they said that it looks a lot better.
Yeah, we've been putting down stone on the road edges, on that particular road. I don't know if you've had time to drive the other roads or not, see which ones are these roads.
Yeah, they said it looked good, so they were appreciative of it.
Anything else for Todd?
That's for me.
Larry?
Hey, I was running an excavator on some ground that we rent and it's trimming trees back to the property line. And when I got close to the county road 300 south, and the tree was still on our property. And when I pulled the tree out, some trees, the roots grow down and some grow out sideways. And apparently these roots went through the county ditch and underneath the road. And when I went home that night, I noticed this piece of the blacktop had fallen away. It's like a 2 foot by 4 foot section. And so I did the right thing and tried to get hold of the county highway department, but I couldn't find a number. So I called the sheriff department and I guess they contacted them and they went out and did their thing. And anyway, they charged me for 2 loads of dirt and a load of 53 stones. And they had nothing but tandem dump trucks, and that's 2 loads of dirt is 14 tons each and 14 tons of stone to fill in a 2 by 4 foot damage or hole. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of material. So it's obviously that the ditch and road is deteriorating anyway. And one load of dirt they dumped in another place that I didn't even affect. So they, are assuming that the road's deteriorating other places. And so they're trying to charge me to fix the road. And I guess I'm okay with paying for what I damaged, but I don't want to pay for fixing other parts of the road. And really, they even charged me for overtime pay when I've called their attention to other places that are very similar to this, and they've yet to address them. So I don't know what the hurry was to get out there on overtime pay and fix it. And it's been 2 months now since I've called their attention to them other places. And then they want me to go back and mill the road out 15 feet wide and 35 feet long and re-blacktop it. When they fixed it up now, I mean, if you went out there now, you couldn't even tell where the damage had been. I mean, they've done a good job of fixing where I had damage. And then besides that, they want to hold me responsible for up to 12 months later on. That if it settles, or I guess due to their perhaps shady work that they didn't pack it in or fix it properly, that if it settles 12 months from now, they want me to be responsible to maintain it or whatever. So, I'm willing to pay for damage I did, minus the overtime pay and minus the 1 load of dirt and the equipment, the truck time, and for that extra load of dirt that they dumped someplace else.
Day of the week was it down on?
The damage was done on Thursday, and it's fixed Friday, and we actually had to close the road that night. So that is really come in on Friday and fix it.
See, the highway only works 4 days a week. They work 4 10s, so Friday's automatic overtime.
They could have waited till Monday, because the other places I told them about had yet to be fixed, so what was the hurry?
The road was
The
closed.
road was closed.
Why did they close the road? They didn't close these other roads where the damage is very similar. They're still open.
There, this tree went over, it was out in the roadway, it's substantial. There probably a police report got on it, sheriff did this morning, they dispatched me out there that night. It was a traffic hazard. I mean, we're talking all this deep out in the road. So it had to be closed. There was no way around without closing. So yeah, closed, summertime, Friday we come in and fixed it, got it back passable, we put it back.
So these other places, they're 8 feet deep because they're at a bridge underneath the creek where she eroded away.
And have you reported those to the highway department? Where are those at?
These are on the edges more. This was out, this encroached like half a lane in the road. That's kind of the difference between one of them.
Half the lane's not 2 feet on 15-foot wide road.
It is on 300 south, 2 foot's a whole bunch. You're banging mirrors, you're putting tires on the edge of the road to not hit each other out there. I mean, losing 2 or 2.5 foot of road out there is dangerous. Definitely need to be closed, in my opinion.
And 2 feet on another road's not dangerous.
Show me some pictures of the roads, we can argue the semantics of that if we want, but the closing of the road sounds very justifiable, so the overtime's very justifiable in my opinion.
What about the loads of?
There's loads somewhere, we sent 2 loads of dirt out there to do us at the shoulder area. That night when it happened, the tree was still in the ditch. So when I sent the crews out that morning, I didn't know the tree had been removed, how much more. So I sent enough out there, so one time out there, we had enough material to do it, fix it, back. So, we didn't want to spend an extra 2 or 3 hours, we had a little dirt going back out. So, yeah. And I told them the extra dirt they had, just lay along the shoulder there, improve the area out there.
So how much would have been taken to fix this immediate?
I mean, I wasn't out there, but I mean, I guess I'm not going to dispute one load of dirt. So, if he feels one load of dirt what it took to fix it, we sent 2 out and we did have some extra. I have no problem. If he wants to say one load of dirt, I have no problem with that. And as far as the stone and stuff, that's all the road specs. You carry kind of road specification on road cuts. So that's nothing that Carroll County Highway came up with arbitrarily. It's already in our road specifications for that. As far as the patch material, the deepness of the patch, all that is by the county road specs.
So typically, if this is done, do you require road cut permits?
Since this was unforeseeable, we couldn't do a road cut permit. But because it's damaged, we applied the same theory, putting it back as a road cut, the compaction, the asphalt, all that. So, yeah.
So what's the charge for the single load of dirt?
I charged, $150 a load. And,
Plus the $225 for the truck.
do what there?
Plus the $225 for the truck. You got that spelled out on another page.
I charged him for 2 loads of dirt at $150 a load. And I charged him for 1 load of 53s at our bid price. Okay. And it came out to be $300 for the dirt and $147 for the stone. Plus I had a report for all the labor, equipment, man hours required to do the job. And that's what I gave.
That's what he said. If you didn't need the load of dirt, you didn't need the dump truck and driver as well.
Oh,
That's his claim.
okay.
So that's the extra part he's asking about.
and I'm willing to pay for, the initial fixing, but having the road milled out and repaved, I mean, that's another topic.
Well, I think if you want to get the road fixed back to,
It's fixed back to
To
the
the
original
standard.
condition right now.
you guys put out hot mix in it?
The only thing we did is just Durapatch, keep stone in place. That's what we did, no, we did not.
So that, the hot
We're
mix
not.
asphalt will have to be replaced. That's what,
Well, if you go out and look at it now, you couldn't tell where it was damaged,
I have been out there and looked at it, and I
and you
can,
can tell.
I can tell. I mean, it's
Only
been
because the
chip and
orange
sealed.
barrels there.
It's been chip and sealed, I mean, with the Durapatch, but it's not a chip and seal road.
Will that last as long as that spot that was patched?
No, I mean, it is literally, it's a patch, just hold the stone in place. That's why we did it.
And so the way that it sits now, is it in the same condition that it would have been prior to this?
And I mean, if we did it, we would still be going back out asphalt in the county. Yeah, we wouldn't leave it the way it is right now, even if we did it. And what or something, we would still go back out, pass it back again, the way we do any of our other road tests.
Is there a reason that the length of, and then I don't know the answer to this, so legitimately asking here, is there a reason that you have to do the long, what was it, a 30-foot section that you said, Mr. Muckerhide, they quoted you for the patching?
The reason was because the road kind of lays in there slow. So we wanted to just patching this spot, you end up not rideability, where you get the, so going back and tying into the rideability, and that's the same thing we do all over.
So Tim and I went out and visited this site, measured the road width and where we thought it needed to be tied into. That's where we came up with 15-foot wide, 35-foot long.
That's way more than any damage that I did. There's a lot of other places on the county roads where they dug through and never come back and filled them in to level them out.
So what's the truck and driver for one on that?
$225.
And the load was 150.
Well, the
Truck driver and dirt. 225 for the truck and driver, 150 for the load. 375 for that.
And 147 for the stone.
Stone is utilized. It's just one load of dirt.
Oh, I see what
It's
you're
just
saying.
one load of dirt. So
I see what you're saying.
Stuff that we put in now is a temporary. We have to go over that with the more structurally integral asphalt over that, so it lasts more than 3 to 6 months. And then that final top layer also makes it to where it's not a speed bump or the whole is. I see that. Yeah, I don't have a copy.
If you're willing to reduce the bill by $375, this initial bill you sent out.
You see that?
yeah, I'm good with that.
So the total original bill was $2,174.
That was just road repair. And, you know,
Temporary.
Yeah.
And you'll be expected to return the road to its original meet highway specs.
Do we have an estimate on what that will cost?
Originally, right now we're tied into Cologne because I got the bid. And I emailed Mark, he sent me back a quote, $5,000, move in, move out, and the pay.
He's more than welcome to get anyone to fix it.
Yeah.
I told you that.
Yeah, he didn't deem that was good, so I took him the specs for the highway and specs from NDOT, which is what we're required to do. And if he wanted to get somebody else to bid on that, to do the repairs, he could do that. I gave him till October 1st. Submitted him that bill on the, I think, I put the date on there, September 30th, I think is when I submitted it to him.
What was the date of this? Is it?
There should be a copy of the police report.
August 3rd, 2020.
Before, or after we'd already done the paving of that different section of road?
Different section.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'm not gonna do that without let a judge decide that.
I'm not sure I understood what you said. Can you repeat that, please? Okay.
I said I will not do that. We'll have to let a judge decide whether that needs to be done.
Okay.
So you can spend your money however you decide.
Okay.
But I'll pay the initial fix minus extra load of dirt and truck time.
So you're willing to fix it halfway, just not all the way,
It's fixed all the way right now.
but you don't set those standards.
5 years from now, it'll look.
But you don't set those standards.
Pardon?
You don't set those standards. We have standards we have to follow from the state, from NDOT, highway. That's the standard of what we set the way the road's repaired.
Yeah, but I don't have to repair county roads.
You do if you can.
Well,
We'll leave it,
what I
we'll leave it with
damaged,
your last statement.
what I damaged is 2 feet by 4 feet, but not 15 by 35.
We'll leave it with your last statement.
Pardon?
Thank you for your time.
Okay. You gonna send me a new bill, or are we gonna leave this?
Just leave it for now.
You sent him a bill originally.
Yeah, I can.
Just send him a new one.
Yeah.
Minus the discussed expenses coming off of it.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
can do
Todd.
that.
Thank you, Mr. McBride.
Sheriff Bill Miles.
Good morning. Item number one, at your last meeting, you verbally approved raising the fee, administrative fee on foreclosure sales to $200. Put a copy of the written ordinance for your signature on that.
We approved that last meeting, just didn't.
And then item number two, I'm seeking authorization to sell 2 vehicles. The 2018 Chevy Tahoe, about $129,000, and 2010 Dodge Charger with about $189,000. Obviously, they've seen their day and kind of gone high mileage and maintenance, so we're asking to sell those.
Where are you at with your fleet as far as having backup vehicles if anything goes down? And
We currently have one backup that's being used. And that'll go into my point number 3 here in a minute. When you're ready for that.
We've only got you down for 2 points today, Sheriff. I need a motion to allow him to sell these.
Yeah, I make that motion.
I concur.
Yes, sir. Item 2/A.
I think this would be B. Two B.
2B or not. We did have a wreck on September the 8th. We've been working with the insurance on that. We got a payout on that. They told it. We're going to pay off the $35,837. We did find a Dodge Durango on a lot at Franklin for $41,508. So I'm asking for authorization to purchase that vehicle using the insurance money. The difference, the $5,600 difference, using the proceeds from the sale of these two vehicles to make up that difference.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
What's the deductible?
It was a $3,500, excuse me, $35,000 is part of the deductible.
Oh, it is? Okay,
It is.
okay. That's after the deductible.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd move to approve on that.
A second.
I'll concur.
Then 2C. We spoke last meeting again about the memorandum of understanding between us and court services. Chad's working on an ordinance on that. I spoke to him this morning. We're not quite ready for that. So I'll be presenting that at the next meeting if Chad and I have some further discussion. Do you have any questions of me?
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thanks. Miss Erica. Oh, I'm sorry.
Your turn.
Hey, hold on. Have a seat for a second. Kenny. He takes precedence over you.
Doesn't everybody?
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Since our last meeting, I had 49 inspections, 17 new building permits and plan reviews. I had 3 permit renewals. I had 1 complaint on possible nuisance property in Let's. Take pictures and draft and send a letter to that one. Still closing out expired permits. We're getting them to renew if the work isn't done yet. Still working on Commissioner Blodgett's request for a list of order for action letters not abated. I need to do some follow-ups to complete my list. This is what I've got so far. That's all I've got.
So you are sending the letters then for the new place in Let's?
No red tag since your last meeting.
I was mentioning same thing, the electrical. People don't like to put their ground wires in.
Okay, Erica, now that we've got the crowd warmed up.
Okay. I emailed you guys a scope of work from Pathways to Healing. I got it in front of Chad before I sent it to you guys to make sure that everything lined up legally and there were no issues before we asked you to sign it. The jail commander and I went to the ARPA board in August and asked them to fund a mental health program specific to public safety. We asked initially that they fund $73,500 because we needed a number to start with. And we based that off of 5 to 7 critical incidents a year, 8 to 10 responders affected by each incident. When the sheriff and the jail commander and I got on the phone call with Pathways, they said that they typically, if mental health issues are affecting their work environment, they typically start to see a turnaround within 6 sessions. So we priced it out at 6 sessions for each of those responders for each of those incidents at $175 a session, which is where we came up with the $75. The council voted 2 weeks ago to fund $100,000 out of ARPA to get the program started. That's going to allow for some of the conversations we had after that meeting were some apps that we're going to be utilizing for peer-to-peer communication that is going to be confidential versus just open text messages. So some of those smaller startup fees that we're going to have to pay can also be paid from that initial 100,000, but the majority of that we're hoping to utilize for public safety mental health sessions with Pathways. I divided it out. I think it comes out to like 541 sessions that it's going to fund from the $100,000 if it's all completely utilized for the mental health session funding. Initially I was going to try and build it for us off of some other examples and agencies that I had seen. I reached out directly to, he's now the former Boone County Sheriff. He set up a mental health program for his department when he was sheriff that they utilized during his 2 terms plus 1 year as sheriff. So in communication with him, he actually put me in direct contact with Pathways to Healing to kind of start the process and to start the conversation of how we go about building it. And that conversation lasted 2 or 3 emails before I asked what do we have to do to just get on board with them. They're already doing what we need done. They're already working directly with multiple law enforcement agencies in the state. And they're working the same type of program of what we're asking to put in front of them. This won't just be for law enforcement, it's also going to be the dispatchers and the coroner's office as well. But public safety being established in a public safety environment to make sure, because we're a different breed of people, so we need to not scare the normal therapist off. So we wanted to utilize something that's already in place, already functioning, and is already working, which is how we got to Pathways. I asked the Mike Nielsen to come down to the council meeting because obviously asking for a large chunk of money was my biggest concern, getting the program funded. And we accomplished that at the last council meeting. I asked him to return to speak to you guys. I can ask it, or I can answer any questions you have that is going to be specific to our program. But I asked him to return today in case you guys want to engage with him on the success they've seen with utilizing Pathways, why they chose Pathways. They still utilize Pathways versus why we're not utilizing something closer, or how we're vetting those services. Please engage with him if you have any questions, because it's a 2-hour drive for him every time he comes down here. And then once we answer any questions you guys have, if you guys decide to sign the scope of work, he's going to come back for 2 more training days with our employees to speak to them about where his story starts versus where it is, why he is supportive of mental health, and have prior law enforcement speak to law enforcement because they don't want to hear it from a dispatch director. And that's how we're going to basically roll out the services to our employees. He's going to come down for 2 different training days for be able to speak to them. So what I emailed you and then I gave Mark a hard copy of is the scope of work of Pathways. It's pretty, when I sent it to the county attorney, it's pretty cut and dry to the point. We will not be paying them any kind of fee, no retainer or anything like that. We will only be paying them for the actual sessions that we utilize. So there is an opt-out clause in there, but it's pretty minimal because, we're not going to owe them any money other than the services that we've utilized from them. So since this is the kind of final step with you guys, we've already sent it to our employees. I am asking that you sign the scope of work for Pathways for the Be Free mental health program for public safety, so that public safety can be free of the financial strain of having to pursue mental health services. So they can be free of not having to call and find mental health services on their own when they need them. It's already going to be set up for them. And so that they can be free of the stigma of pursuing mental health services in public safety, because most of us who have championed this and worked through this also come from a generation of you just take the next call and then you just take the next call. And when I met with the ARPA board, I won't do it again in a public meeting, but when I met with the ARPA board, I went through a short list of the major calls that I could come up with from myself personally as a dispatcher. And of those 6 to 7 calls I think I gave them, we had only been offered any kind of debriefing or any mental health follow-up to one of those calls. So we want to make sure that we are not failing at that anymore. This will come with mental health services they can seek on their own. This will also come with more follow-up with critical incident and stress management. We'll continue to utilize State Police's team because we have a rapport already built with them. The jail commander has been working, going to training and working through figuring out peer-to-peer support. We're going to build that internally so that we're not relying on only a critical incident to recognize red flags in our employees before we get them in front of mental health services. It is going to be 100% confidential. I will receive the invoices as Decatur County Public Safety 1, Decatur County Public Safety 2. We won't know if they won't even break it down to whether it's dispatch, sheriff, or coroner going. It'll just be, I think we estimated with the deputies, jail staff, courthouse security, sheriff's admin, my dispatchers and admin, the coroner's office, reserve deputies, and my part-timers, I think we're right at 90 to 100 employees. So all of those employees, regardless of full or part-time status, will have access to this. Because if you take it all the way down to a reserve deputy, they are responding to and managing the same calls at no cost to the county, but they're still exposed to the same trauma and on-scene that everybody else is as well. So we wanted to make sure that it did not have to align with only full-time employees who take insurance or any of those circumstances. We wanted everybody who works in any capacity in any of the departments to have access to it.
So Erica, would a first responder, say from a volunteer fire department, be eligible?
So they asked me about that in the ARPA board. When we initially pitched this to them, we pitched it as dispatch, the sheriff's department, the jail, and the coroner's office. I know the discussion in the ARPA board was, okay, but what about everybody else? What about the volunteer fire? What about everybody who's not covered under that as well? So I told them initially, like, some days I already feel like I've been off more than I can chew. And I think there's probably about 200 volunteer firemen, firewomen. So it would be obviously additional cost expense as well. But the way that they've written this scope of work is really generic. It's just written for Decatur County Public Safety. But she does, for the term, she does lay out that it is the coroner, dispatch, and the sheriff. So moving forward, if that's something that you guys are interested in doing, obviously everybody could always be added to this same scope of work. This was just kind of the initial going from nothing to something.
I think it was a larger scale funding conversation that we got into on how to fund or include all the volunteer fire departments versus just county general money for large masses. It's kind of where we went with the conversation.
Because I know that ARPA meeting, they were also really supportive of pursuing additional mental health services for in the schools, and like it wasn't just going to, and we didn't intend for it just to stop at public safety. I'm just one person, so I needed something manageable instead of something outlandish to start with. So if you have any questions for me, I'll answer those. Please have questions for Mike Nielsen, because this is the second time that he's driven a 4-hour round trip to come sit in one of our meetings. So make one up even if you don't.
I was fortunate enough to be at the council meeting and listen to Mike, and the presentation was fabulous. And I know there's a need, and I'm all for this, so.
So I listened to Mr. Nielsen during the council meeting also. I wasn't present, but definitely listened and condemned his efforts and was in his place pretty similarly not too long ago. And very happy that we're doing this. It was something I wanted to do as jail commander. I had no idea what a path was, so long overdue in my opinion.
I don't have any questions like Tony. I listened to it before, so I knew what the presentation was coming into today. My only concern was talked about as well with the fire departments. That's the only thing that I would like to see how this could be expanded going forward in the future.
And I know, I don't remember who I had the conversation with, but they just passed fire stuff through the state house that maybe covers some training equipment, or maybe mental health is minimally included. I know the sheriff received an email, right, from the Sheriff's Association for the way the Sheriff's Association is pursuing mental health. And it seemed, I don't know, public meeting, but he forwarded it to me basically to read through because it didn't seem to maybe hit to the extent that we're going to be able to offer. So moving forward, they don't know yet because I haven't told them, but we or I have a call with Pathways today at 3. She is going to give me any pertinent information that employees need to have access to. I'm going to get it all into a flyer and get those professionally printed to put in the departments in non-public areas, so the squad room, the dispatch center, the coroner's office. That way they always have that access to that information easily. It'll have the name of the apps that we end up deciding to use for the peer-to-peer communication. It'll have how they go about contacting Pathways. Because since it is confidential, they will have direct access to them. None of that has to be run through any of us. And we don't necessarily even have to know that they do contact them for those services. So we want to make sure that all of that information is in front of them so that there's no question for them how to go about getting a hold of who they need to get a hold of.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the scope of work agreement.
I would second that motion.
Congratulations.
Sure you don't have any questions?
This is my third time, so.
This is a really long time at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mike, thanks for coming down.
Absolutely.
Erica?
I'll need a copy of that because of our.
Okay.
And
She'll make a copy and get to you.
is that
I'll
okay?
sit back down again.
Thank you. Chad?
Yeah, you guys want to make a look at a speed limit change out on Park Road as it ends up towards the county near South Country Club Drive. We did a traffic count of the road, and then looking through the statutes, there's a dense enough housing area to allow the change of nothing further, so we are good to proceed on new ordinance.
Okay, the ordinance does set the speed limit at 30 miles an hour on South County Road 150 West, beginning at Park Road and continuing till it intersects with South Fairway Drive. Motion to approve. approved.
Does that include the country club drive circle?
Yes. All of South Country Club Drive at or near South County Road 150 West.
What's the other?
W 2023
I go ahead and make that motion.
Second.
Anything else? Nope. Patty?
Good morning. Give an update. New hires for the month of September. We had one for the detention center, one for the Board of Health, one for 911, and one for the highway. A general announcement is that we're doing flu shots for county employees. This is done by our Board of Health, and that will be Friday, October 20th, here at the courthouse from 8:30 to 3:30 in the small meeting room. I had sent an email out to Decatur County Hall so that everybody can access that and set up your own appointment time. However, if that day doesn't work for you, in that link, there's a drop-down menu and you can choose another date and location to get those flu shots. The other thing is a reminder that the courthouse will be closed on Monday, October 9th in observance of Columbus Day. That's all I got.
Can we jump back on that ordinance real quick, Mark?
Yeah.
Todd, are you gonna be able to get some speed limit signs
Yes.
out there? That way people actually know what the new speed limit is. Thank you.
When you get those put in, you let the sheriff know that they're installed so you can start reporting.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Diane and Shannon.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Shannon McLeod with Diane Hart, and we are here to just give you a little update on the Y project and make sure that you still are on board with us proceeding forth. If you recall, a few months ago, we were here hopeful that we might be able to apply for the spring round of funding through the Office of Community Affairs. This would be for a $500,000 grant to help the Y replace the roof on the original portion of the building. Unfortunately, there's a lot of hoops that have to be jumped through, and I knew that we were kind of up against the wire. And although we were able to get the proposal in, there were some other things, technicalities that just weren't able to get done to proceed with the full application. We now are in the fall round, it's upon us, and before we advertised a public hearing or anything of that nature, I just wanted to come before you and make sure that you were still supportive of the project and us moving forward with the application this fall round. It's due October, the proposal's due October 20th. So we'd like to have we'd have to have a public hearing sometime between now and then. We can do it perhaps in conjunction with the next commissioner meeting, if advertising allows, or it might be better off just doing it at the Y, because the public hearing can take place anywhere, and we might get better turnout at the Y. But we'd have the public hearing, proposal will be due October 20th. Mark, unfortunately, we would have to have another site visit, I know, but we would have to do that sometime in November, and then the full application would be due December 22nd, with grant awards being made 1st of February. I think that's kind of what's on the schedule for next year. But that's it, just wanting to make sure that you're still supportive of that.
Yes, I am.
Anything change my mind?
We're good.
All right, great,
Thanks
thank
for coming
you.
in. Bids for county logo, vehicles and clothing.
So we have one for the vehicle there, Mark.
Weldon sign. Vinyl decal is $256, installation $128. For full-size doors, vinyl decal for mid-size is $120, installation is $60. Vinyl decals for standard cab trucks and similar vehicles, which is a 36 by 12.5, it's $60, installation is $30. Magnetic signs are $25 each. 12 by 18 is $25 each, and a 12 by 20, or 18 by 24 is $35 each.
These were both of these are apparel.
Let's see where they're from. Shelbyville. This one is from Rivera's screen printing. Goes through the, you're gonna have to put this in a spreadsheet because it lists every single item you had.
Yep.
It's a copy for each of you.
Okay.
And it does list everything, as you said, individually marked, because you asked for a lot, and there are a lot of different criteria that are
Too
listed.
much for me to find.
It's a lot to look at in a meeting, seriously. It's a lot.
From Baker Design where it's made.
Childproof.
Got your pocket knife.
Don't let the sheriff see me.
There's a copy for everybody.
Get this together. Do that. That's what she'll have.
Got the pictures of all the stuff that you guys was wanting, and then there's a pricing sheet in there, which basically has the price of the apparel and everything, and there will be no, not charging any digitizing fees or setup fees. Just keep the apparel, we waive all the fees. And if there's a bulk order where they get maybe 100 t-shirts for the county highway, then we could get 15% off on a bulk order, except for like the coffee mugs.
You guys have any questions for either of them? Well, I'll just have to review these.
Yeah. I'll just need to look at them.
Later out. You guys have any questions for us? Okay to review?
Yeah.
I think you'll take your time to review.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There's a lot in there, yes.
Thank you both for participating.
Yeah, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
That's my homework list.
Next up, we have tree trimming bids. These were to trim everything inside the courthouse sidewalks of the square, interior sidewalks. Camerons of Greensburg gave us price quoted 11,000 to 13,000. Arbor Management of Sunman gave us a price of 8,800. And Adams Tree Service of Greensburg gave us a price of 5,150. So we'll let Chad review these. We'll need to get insurance. I think any of them supplied.
Insurance should be attached.
Is it? There's Cameron's. Did they all provide insurance? Okay.
Yeah, we've used in the past.
The county highway uses Cameron's a lot, correct?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Arbor Management. I don't know if they've been on site. I'm very familiar with Adams. They're local.
They have used Adams as well.
So if you want to review these or make a decision, except the trees do need to be trimmed here in the courthouse, that's for sure. So. Again, looks like Adams is low at 5,150, followed by Arbor Management of 8,800. And then Cameron's gave a vague price of 11,000 to 13,000. So what's your pleasure?
I mean, they're all the same trees, so I would go with, my vote would be to go with Adams.
I'll second that.
And I would concur. The other bid we have is a boiler emergency shutoff that the state is requiring be installed. We have time for the state inspection, but it's from Piney, who takes care of all our boiler stuff now, and that price is $2,485.
That's who does all our servicing.
Yeah, we've got a service contract with them.
And no other bids were received for that. Nothing else.
Make a motion to approve.
That's it.
I'll concur. Patty, please. I've got a letter from Reedy Financial to the commissioners, came certified mail, that the city of Greensburg is having a TIF, the Greensburg Redevelopment Commission, having their annual meeting. And of course, commissioners were invited. It's October the 5th. That's a Thursday evening, 7 o'clock at City Hall. Any of either of you want to go? It's going to be as boring as one of ours.
Is that a public meeting?
It is. We have a correction of an ordinance 2023-21. Vacate of the alley.
I got a copy. right?
Yeah.
There's called
Correct.
roads instead of alleys.
Yes. So you have, that came from, you go through this?
Look at me.
I'm looking at you, Mr. Attorney.
I did not. Unaware of this.
Lauren, on the original ordinance, the Hamilton wanted to vacate 3 alleys. Well, 2 are actually streets and 1's an alley, so.
So you just changed the word.
Correct.
So you need us to sign this one.
Yes.
Date it today.
It's 2023-21B.
I move to approve that.
Second.
Yeah.
Sign this. It's an official one.
Doesn't say
It's
copy.
a right.
Doesn't say copy. Thank you. Next, we have up a request for use facilities, a holiday walk from Main Street, December 2nd, 2023. Doesn't say the hours, but all parking spaces on the northeast and south side, no parking lot on Franklin, and all courthouse lawn.
Saturday.
Yeah.
They've done it numerous years in the past. So. Motion to approve that. It's here.
So, yeah, go ahead and move to approve.
Second.
Okay, there's a request here from the Decatur County Pride Alliance.
Yes.
The date is June 1st, 2024, hours of 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wishing to use the courthouse grounds. Want to have a festival, plans for a couple of food trucks, live band, or DJ and vendors. We will need limited electricity. We are planning on having private security and porta potties.
Saturday also.
Okay. And their insurance certificate is here.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
I would concur.
Matter of old news, I was able to talk to all the elected officials or offices about closing for the eclipse and got nobody unwilling to close for that day. Allow the sheriff more people. If we want to discuss that further.
I think that will need to be some discussion because that's a $35,000 benefit. If you take the payroll, divide it by 10, that's about what it costs us every day. So we either trade it for another day, or I think it needs to be discussed in benefits. That's my thoughts. You guys.
I think there needs to be consideration with all of the traffic that we're being told we need to be aware of. from the state level, the number of people that are going to be potentially coming into this community. Plus law enforcement needs to be able to actually be out there to patrol or take care of any other possible incidents. Sheriff Myros was present at the solar eclipse meeting last week and had provided information that I think everybody is on call that particular weekend. Is that correct, Sheriff?
Correct. Yeah.
Nobody is allowed to take time off.
That's detention staff and road staff both, because we're going to utilize them as needed.
So I think that's a fairly large concern that we need to be cognizant of going forward. And if it's something where we need to get some added input here, Mark, to make that decision, we can do that. But I think it's definitely something. That
I don't agree that we should be closed, but I can't see adding another holiday to our schedules. For one of the largest holiday schedules in the state of Indiana, not to knock anybody, but we're pretty frugal with our, so that's just my thoughts. You got some time to make that decision, I think. Okay, the last thing I have on our schedule is Carol Guys.
Do we want to take a quick break, and anybody that doesn't want to hang around for this one, because I think this one might take a little bit, take a quick break, let people filter out.
Well, get Brian to, Dawn, you have anything for us?
I do have a report for Brian. Approval of the economic development agreement for the Fletcher Power Project will come before the council for approval at their next meeting. A similar structure is being proposed for the waste heat project, and that EDA will be coming before the council in either October or November. Ready planning continues with the IEDC visits beginning in December and January. It is Brian's suggestion that the county assemble and select some key projects they'd like to pursue for this next round of funding. And then the reality check event was a great success last week. We'd like to thank everyone who helped to make it happen. The kids were hopefully, in his words, scared straight, finding out just how much everything costs. If you have any questions, you can call Brian at EDC. And then on the chamber's behalf, we've just launched our annual dinner plan. So tickets are now on sale on our website, and we'd love to see all of you there. That evening, we will also be awarding the Entrepreneur of the Year Award, a Small Business Grant, and the Don Horan Community Leader of the Year Award. Anyone can nominate someone for those awards. So if you have someone in mind who you know has stood out among the crowd, doing a lot of extra, whether they're serving on committees or boards, please nominate them. We have a great committee that will go through that, and then we will award that person that evening. And that's November the 17th, which is a Friday, and that will be held at Heritage Hill Events this year.
Thanks.
Thank you.
One reminder, Saturday, November 4th is the Winter Storage Day at the fairgrounds. Get that out there, radio and newspaper. That starts at 8 a.m. Campers and boats and anything else they want to put in the buildings. Anyone else? We are recessed for this hearing. Thank you.
And we'll come back just in, what, 5 minutes?
Yep.
I look at my calendar It wasn't my plan. My son will last Marine Corps bullet. And he is requesting for you to be here. Not really, you don't do all, but this is the last back. Oh, okay. They celebrate the Marine Corps.
You want to step to the podium? Let us know why you're here.
I'm here because on September the 6th, the sheriff's department sent out Thule deputy to come on my property, and they stole the Co-Alliance filmed both of my regulators, the one off the house and the one off my propane tank. They were allowed by Judge Bailey to take the propane tank and the blocks underneath it. And I went to David to get assistance to get propane, and he denied me service. Because I need 2 regulators and propane. Jimmy Moore has recently, last week, purchased the 2 regulators for me, but I still need propane for my tank so that I can wash and cook and everything.
How long have you been in discussions with the trustee about getting your propane?
September the 6th.
Did it start before that?
No. They were supposed to come and get the tank 10 days after the ruling on the 31st of August. And they came and got it the 6th, and I've been out of service since then.
So you weren't in conversation with Mr. Israel prior to September 6th about getting your propane tank?
He knew about it because he was in the hearing testifying for me.
But you didn't make any requests prior to September 6th to get your tanks filled to Mr. Israel?
I have made a percentage to get another company to pull a tank in there for me, and he was trying to help me then. But Jimmy Moore found a tank that they could purchase, and him and Legal Services went, besides Tammy Winning from the foundation, to buy the tank for me. So they purchased the tank for me, and I was in still need of the 2 regulators and propane to put in the tank, and I was working with him, and he said that $200 that Tammy said an anonymous donor put towards it, he wanted to claim that $200 of helping me, and it was not him helping.
But when did you start asking Mr. Israel to put gas in your tank?
I would say it was after the 31st, after the hearing.
So you were not in conversation with Mr. Israel in April of 2023 asking for money to fill your tank?
I was in conversation with him to get me some money for the thing, but at that time I was in the EAP program, and my EAP benefits was approved, and I got it through that. But that was the tank that was on my property that I was renting at that time. This is a brand new tank because Judge Bailey made me give the tank back to Dan Leary. And so Co-Alliance bought his property out. What had happened is on March the 15th of 2022, Dan Leary called me and asked me if I wanted to buy that tank for the money that he owed me. And so I talked to my brother, and my brother told me to go ahead and do it. And then a year and a half later, he wants the tank back. Supposed to go back on his deal and wants the tank back. So Judge Bailey, we had a hearing, and Judge Bailey ordered me to give it back. They were supposed to bring an officer out there when they came and got the tank, because the gentleman had threatened my life 2 or 3 times. And they sent somebody out there in 3 days to get it. And when Thule came out on the property, he let them take my regulator right off the house and off the propane tank, which those two I had paid for out of my pocket.
When was your propane tank delivered to your house?
They delivered it the 13th, Wednesday,
Of September or
Yes.
of August?
September.
So you were not having conversations with Mr. Israel in August about your tank? And getting
I've had several conversations about my tank, because I didn't know whether, the judge was gonna make me give it back or not. And he was trying to get me, to pull another tank in there. And, it didn't work out, so then, Jimmy Moore of the United Methodist Church in Bloomington found a tank for them to purchase, and he put towards it, and so did the guy from Indiana Legal Services, and Tammy, an anonymous donor from the foundation for the rest.
Have you received any other payments, any other, or not you received, but your trustee, David Israel, provided any other assistance monetarily for anything else?
He helped me 1 year with my furnace, and he has helped me one time with my electric bill.
When you apply for assistance with the township, is there a form that you fill out?
I did.
So they have a copy of that form, request for assistance.
He did not have me fill out a form when, on this time. The last time that he helped me with my electric bill, he did, but he didn't have me fill out a form this time.
Carol, do you own the property where you live?
I did.
Well, I don't understand what happened to the tank that was there.
Like I said, we had a hearing on August the 31st. Judge Bailey ordered for me to give the tank back to Dan Larry, the one that sold me the tank. And so I had to give the tank back.
So you didn't pay Dan, who's Dan Larry?
Dan Larry is the one that, Shelby Bottlegas, that I purchased the tank off of when he owed me some money, and he went back on me still.
You don't have any paperwork?
I did
You
not.
bought it?
I did not. I took it on his word, and I shouldn't have done that.
Was there gas in the tank when he took it back?
That's right, there was. And he is not, Co-Alliance, got all that because they purchased his business May the 17th of 2022, and, they, have not paid back any of that to the state yet.
So, just as a matter of point, there was no official application for township assistance ever filled out. So the appeal within 15 days is not there because there was no request for assistance. The only thing I can find so far for the assistance for tax purposes is a statutory appeal. We don't have anything to show a start date for this conversation. Just a matter of a conversation.
There is a thing that Tammy had me to fill out, requesting, help, but she put on there that David should have been the one helping me, not the anonymous donor.
The appeals process by statute says that you have to file within 15 days of your denial, but you never filed for assistance.
I did file assistance, but he never did.
Filled that out?
He never did, no. He never did let me fill out one of those.
Okay.
And I have talked to Mark, and I've talked to the other gentleman about the situation several times. That he had not, had me fill out anything like that, and that he was not helping me, and, the whole situation about my propane tank.
So, in all of this, what specifically are you wanting today?
I'm wanting to get some propane. Since Jimmy already purchased the 2 regulators, but I need propane. And I would like something done to that officer, that let them come out there. He is, service of the law, and he's supposed to protect me. That's the reason Judge Bailey had him come out there. I was not home, but he still committed a crime on my property by stealing the 2 regulators that I had purchased, and he was not supposed to take those.
Do you have a copy of the judgment from Judge Bailey?
Not with me, no.
Can't make a determination on whether anybody did something wrong or improper if you don't bring a judgment, because that would spell out that. But we're really here to talk about the township trustee thing, right?
Right, but.
Mr. Israel, how long have you been in conversation with Carol about filling up her propane tank?
This gas tank ordeal, LP tank, has been going on since April. I did get called in to the hearing on the LP tank with Co-Alliance. And Judge Bailey gave him a 10 days to get the tank released and picked back up by Co-Alliance.
In your opinion as trustee, when did the request for propane start? Is it 2 separate requests, or has it been just a continuous?
What started out was she wanted me to basically set her up for a different provider for LP gas. I, as a trustee, cannot do that. That's not part of my scope of my job. Because in that way, it falls on me as far as trustee in the township. And if you do it for one, you have to do it for everybody. So no, I'm not going to set up an account for somebody, just like electric bill or water bill or anything else. You know, we can help you put gas in the tank. We can probably help you pay your water bill a little bit, and some electricity. So. Did I answer your question or not?
It did.
Okay, thank you.
Can you outline any other assistance that has been provided to Ms. Geis?
Do what?
Can you outline any other assistance that has been provided to Ms. Geis by you in your township trustee role?
Yeah. I think I understood your question.
Yeah, just what other assistance have you provided her?
Over the last year, couple of years.
Last year.
Last year, I probably helped her twice, if not maybe 3 times or more, on her electric bill, as recent as, I believe it was August. I didn't take time to look that up, but you just asked me about 1 year, so.
Sure. Do you know how much and helping with those electrical bills it would have been during that?
Well, actually, she was behind 2 months, which the dollar amount was like $200, $100 for 1 month on it, $100 for those. So I just called her up for $200, so that I have a clean slate, she can go on.
But part of that money was done through my EAP too, so he didn't pay the whole portion.
But he paid.
Yes.
Did,
Go ahead.
have you actually denied filling up her propane tank? She says you denied it. What's the basis of? Where's your stance on what's currently assisting her on the propane?
On this LP tank gas?
Yeah.
As far as I know, and there's some other, I sent commissioners all my texts from April to now. And you can see there was a long list of things that happened through there. But she was asking to get help on an LP tank, which I cannot do. There was a fund through the foundation that trustees could get that we could go outside of our expertise or our scope of our job to help somebody else. So there was, in one of those texts, it tells how much that LP tank costs, like $950 or something like that. And anyway, I had asked the foundation for $200. The only way you can get that money is through the township trustee.
And after all this, that money's not even gonna be there anymore to help other people. So I asked for $200 from the foundation. Got a cut check, or got a check cut for it. And then all of a sudden, she wasn't gonna go with Shelby County Co-op because I think she upset them. And then they found another one. So like Premier Ag got involved with it, and somehow, anyway, she ended up with $950 to get a brand new LP tank. And what runs through my mind is this has been going on since April. And they took the tank. Now, I may have misunderstood a while ago that she borrowed a tank or something, because otherwise I think she's not been living there without any heat or hot water. So.
I had the tank until September 6th when they, Judge Bailey had them come and get it. The foundation money was not through the trustee. It was an anonymous donor that Tammy said, come up and stepped up to the plate to give the $200. It had nothing to do with David giving anything.
But the tank is now paid for, that's sitting here on your property.
It is.
Who paid for that? Because you said your
It
pastor
is,
paid for it.
my pastor, Jimmy Moore, gave part of it. The Indiana Legal Services helped me, and Tammy, the anonymous donor, paid $200, the rest of it.
And did you go to Tammy and request that money?
Did I what?
Did you go to Tammy and
I
request?
did go to Tammy.
You went to her and requested it?
I went there and talked to her about getting money through her. And then she was telling me that David had been up there and David had told her that it was her responsibility, but she said, no, it was his responsibility to help him. And then I also went to the Gabi Center and was trying to get the Gabi Center plus David to do a portion of it. I mean, I'm not asking him to fill the whole tank. I'm asking him to get the minimum amount of $150 until this co-alliance releases my fund back to the state, and then I can get it through the state. But he has not done that.
Lay out for me the cost of the tank.
$900.
Break it down.
350 was Jimmy Moore, $413 was Indiana Legal Services, and $200 from Tammy's anonymous donor.
Do you have that bill?
Do I have that bill?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Do you have it?
No. I have it at home. I didn't think I needed to burn that. That has nothing to do with what I'm asking David to do.
Well, it does. In my opinion, I'm asking questions. Who did you get the tank from? You bought one?
Now, Jimmy Moore had talked to Premier Ag.
Who's Stephanie?
Who's Stephanie? I don't know who Stephanie is.
Stephanie told you $100 for the tank, $239.10 to set the tank, $1.79 per gallon for propane. They put in 8%, which is 212 gallons. Equals $379.
I don't know anything about her, that. The only one that I talked to was Donna from Lawful Valley in Osgood. Debbie, her name was Debbie, and was trying to set a tank on there. And
So you wouldn't have sent that message to Mr. Roosevelt?
I don't know who that
On
is.
July 20th, 2023, 3:53 p.m.
No, I don't know who that is.
Because I think what this text is outlining is the total cost to have a tank set on your property, including propane.
No, they don't. That Lawford Valley was going to set the tank and not charge me nothing for the tank, but they would if I got my EAP after Co-Alliance get some money back to the state and I set it with them, then they would not charge me for the tank. But in the meantime, Jimmy found this thing and bought this tank.
How much gas do you have in your tank now?
How many? I have nothing.
You have 0 amounts of gas?
Yeah, it's empty.
Okay.
It was just set there on the 13th.
Are you aware that Co-Alliance, the day after they took your tank, had actually written a check for the gas that was in the tank that they took back that was theirs?
No, they have not. Per my Bruce Jones of Indiana Legal Services, he said they haven't sent a check back to the state at all yet.
I'm looking at a copy that was submitted. Was this through the actual civil proceeding in which Judge Bailey had ruled? So there was a civil proceeding, the case in which Judge Bailey had ordered Co-Alliance to come back and take that tank from you. They had submitted documentation as part of the evidence in that case that there was a check that was written for the amount of $1,480.55 on September 7th, 2023, paid to the order of, I'm not sure, it says attention EAP. So that would have been the EAP that you had previously gotten funds
But
from,
he did,
correct?
he has not, they won't let me use those funds until he gives back the $660.98 that Dan Leary said that he had on my propane. The EAP money, the EAP money from 2023 and the money in the tank. He has not done that.
So had the gas that was in your tank before it was taken, was that gas that was actually provided by the EAP?
Correct.
So you hadn't purchased any of that gas that was there?
I purchased, not $80 of it.
$80 worth of gas.
Right.
So that got you at most maybe 40 gallon.
Yeah.
And so the EAP had provided you with enough gas that they had cut a check for almost $1,500.
Well, they don't give the check.
Or not cut a check, but
They-
provided gas. to
They
you.
provided it through, Shelby Bottle Gas, the guy Dan Leary, that I was working with, that, for
Okay.
the tank.
It's my understanding as well that one of the regulators that was taken was returned to your home.
It was not. The regulator that he returned to my home was a regulator that was, out of date, can't use it. So, Indiana Legal Services had me to send the tank back, the regulator back to him. Because, the provider that I'm thinking about using now, when my EAP gets, straightened up, they said I couldn't put that on my house or on the tank.
So you
Because
realize
it's
with
expired.
this check, there is almost $1,500 that is the same amount for the gas that was in your tank before.
But they will not let me use it until he returns all the funds to the EAP. The state won't let me do anything until he returns everything. And he's ordered to pay back, the regulators, but he has not done nothing.
But that's not on Mr. Israel.
No, I'm not
correct?
saying that's not on.
And so you already have a source of funding here, and Mr. Israel has already provided you on
But I
at
don't
least
have
2 to maybe 3 separate occasions through the year of 2023. He has already provided you with at least
He's only
$100
provided
worth
me
of
one
assistance.
time through my electric bill, and that was $69.
Okay.
That was the only time this year that he has helped me. The other times I got it through the EAP.
Can I ask
Because
a
I'm-
question from Mr. Israel real quick? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. How many other people have you provided assistance to or that you have served in your township through the year of 2023?
How many?
Yeah.
Probably 12 households.
Okay. Do you know how much you have provided to them on average? Give
An
me a
average
ballpark,
on, back in, I know I needed my ledger, I brought it, but, around the 1st of May, I was averaging $400, that's times 3, that's $1,200. Wasn't able to do that if it hadn't been for to help those clients because of that special money that comes out of the foundation to the township trustees. I was able to give them $800 because they owed more than that. So I was allowed to use that money from there. So, but otherwise, other than just the light bills, water bill, that's been about it. I've had about 12 different people ask for help so far.
Anybody else have input? I know there's some other people here. Potentially, is there somebody else that has any input on the subject? Comments?
Kim, you're mentioned in this.
I think it was Rhonda. She did call and ask the Agape Center for help, and I did deny her because of her attitude and the way she talked. She was very, very rude.
After you told me.
As far as,
She's speaking.
as far as helping her, I mean, our file is this thick from helping Carol. And I don't understand what she does to help herself. But as far as, we've been in contact because of David. She's called and complained about David, you know, saying that he's lied. He took her, you know, the sheriff's department, she's suing them because they took a regulator or something like that. She wanted us to pay for it. I denied that. You can't find a propane company that's willing to help her right now because of the way she's acting toward people.
That is not true.
She's speaking.
But I mean, I'm here for David's sake because, you know, I don't know. She told me that I told her my name was Rhonda and I wouldn't use the name Rhonda because I really don't care about that name.
That's what she told me. When I asked her name, I wrote it down on a piece of paper because I didn't know who she was. That's who she told me.
She's been in the Agape Center since 2012. I've served her several times. I've never used an alias. My name is on my door. She come in to spring my family insurance when the Agape Center was closed, and my name is on that door, and I specifically say my name is Kimberly Springmore, and I tell her my titles for both companies.
She did not say that. She told me that her name was Rhonda.
That's fine.
And I did not know who she was. I had never seen the woman.
Does anybody else have any input or things they'd like to add to the conversation?
Tony, I would say as another trustee, you do have to complete that application. It's available publicly all the time. I don't feel like you can appeal a denial if there was never a request made to deny.
Do you have more information on
the specifics of this one?
No, the community, that special fund or whatever.
No, I don't have any of that.
I do.
Chad does.
Yeah. So since we've all been talking about what Tammy Wenning was saying, I went and spoke with her on Friday morning to find out what her opinion is of what happened. And she recounted it as this. The foundation has an anonymous donor that provides them a small amount of funding every year to use for poor relief. And originally, if any trustees here can verify this, I don't know, the money was put into the township trustees' budget directly each year. It was divided amongst them, and State Board of Accounts said they did not like that. They didn't want outside money commingling with state money, and it caused too many problems. So the foundation maintains this $10,000 fund, and they hold it. And it is accessible and usable by township trustees. It cannot be requested by an individual person. It cannot be accessed by people other than either the foundation themselves, who occasionally use it for small projects, or by a trustee. In this exact instance, she verified that the money came from the donor, but was only accessible and paid because the request came directly from David. So township trustee assistance, it just was not paid from within his budget. And given his testimony, his budget could not go in this direction. He accessed a different level of money that allowed him to give that some level of assistance. She went further that originally the $200 was transmitted to, I believe, a premier ag company out of county that was going to set the tank. And then later decided they would not. $200 was returned. And then later, after some shuffling and back and forth, and the tank finally getting set, it was then reapplied to the purchase of that tank. So there's a mixture here of what people believe and what's happening, but the reality is, according to the foundation, the only way this money got paid was because of David Israel's interactions with the foundation.
Well, based off the fact that there was no application for assistance filled out, and there was actually assistance given in the amount of $200, I don't think there's anything further to discuss.
The reason the tank man, I think.
No, not yet. Anybody else have any additional questions?
Well, I mean, we have to be cognizant of the fact that of what township trustees' roles are, and it's to help numerous individuals in their community. And it sounds like David's doing that. To have served 13 different people so far, we just entered the 10th month of 2023. He is actively assisting people. He has provided these guys with other benefits through the calendar year of 2023. I think he is performing his duties, and he still has to perform his duties to other families and other members of his community. I think that he is fulfilling his responsibilities in office.
If I can, I called State Board of Accounts Friday afternoon and talked to Mr. Huber. He is an attorney for the State Board of Accounts, and he referred me to this bulletin on the way that money works. I'll give it to your attorney because he's probably he's pretty much on track with what he said. And I didn't necessarily need an application, so I got a request by verbal. It's not real, that money did not come into my township money, and I dispersed it. It's just like, it came out of, it was a direct money draft to the company that got the tank. So, but that was a ruling done by State Board of Accounts and whoever makes that, but that just backs up everything that your attorney said. So.
Anything more?
Very short, go ahead.
Yeah, I had talked to the Office of Attorney General because I am writing to these people about this situation. And they told me that trustee's obligation, it doesn't matter how many times that he has to help people in his township. That is his job and responsibility as far as a trustee. And his role, I mean, he don't have to do the whole thing that they are asking, but he is to serve his township. And since I live in his township, he should help someone.
I think Mr. Israel's done a fine job at helping you, and I applaud him for his efforts. That's going to be all from us, I think. Mr. Israel's provided you with assistance.
I have a township budget of $4,000. That only goes so far.
Yes, sir. Sorry. Again, thank you for your help. Thank you, Ms. Geis. We're done.
Mr. Israel, the 4,000 annual.
Yes. It doesn't carry over, it's 4,000 a year.
For your guys' awareness, in 10 working days, an official order on appeal must be issued. I will prepare that and circulate it. And she will be advised of her right to appeal to circuit court and all the other statutory provisions contained there.
Chad.
Thanks for everyone's input. We are finished.
Motion to adjourn. Second.